Hi, everybody. I hope you're well today. Thanks very much, Amanda, for getting everybody together. First of all, my name's Debbie Wolfendale. I'm the CEO and owner of Dermaclinical. Dermaclinical was born in 2017, and lots of reasons why that happened, but specifically to bring to market a particular way of working. And our way of Dermaclinical is to work from the inside and the outside and in clinic. So a three-pronged approach, really, really fantastic to deal with, get transformation on skin when you deal with the inside body systems that may be an issue, dealing with really great home care, handling the reasons why certain things happen, exacerbate psoriasis, eczemas, acne, whatever it is, pigmentation, but at the same time in clinic treatments. So we need to get along, I think. We bring our formulas in from Europe and from the States, about 14 different labs. Each lab does something different. They all specialize in their own aesthetic formulas, and they're top of game when it comes to transformation, which is the only time that I will ever launch something is if I believe and have trialed that it is completely transformative to the human being. So let's get going and share the screen with you today. I think you're going to need to have a pen and paper. That's going to be important. And we're going to try and work everything that we speak about. We're going to try and see if we can bring it back to you and to your clinic and to what you do on a daily basis. All right, so let's talk about our bodies and supplementation. So our bodies are really highly intelligent machines. They should work well all by themselves, but when we look at what the planet is offering up at the moment, or has been for the last 20 years, we've got soils that are completely depleted. Our waterways are very badly contaminated. A lot of chemicals are put into the water to try and help with that contamination. The air that we breathe and the air sources we have is completely polluted. And then we look at the various lifestyles that we carry. You know, we overdrink alcohol, that is, we don't sleep enough, we don't eat enough raw food, we definitely don't take care of our bodies in the way that our bodies were created to be taken care of. So when we look at the difference between our lifestyles and that of our grandmother, in one day we can put out 120 emails. In our grandmother's day, they would write the letter in hand and then they would type it. And then they would put it in an envelope and then it would get collected. So maybe it would be 3 letters and it would take about a month or so to be received on the other side, and then et cetera, et cetera. So we can have an entire business conversation in the day, backwards and forwards, anywhere in the world. So we really do work in a fast and furious pace. So supplements are sometimes needed to get our bodies back on track and to bring our bodies back to baseline health at levels. And so with the right intervention, the intelligence of our body should kick back in. And our concept is to give our bodies exactly what it needs to have that happen. So it's almost like ingredients of a cake. We like to give our bodies what ingredients it requires for the intelligence of our body to kick back in all by itself. So we're basically reteaching the body, and we believe that there's a much more sustainable effect with health in doing so. So sometimes your life will deliver a different curveball. You'll go through a massive depression. You'll maybe go into puberty. You'll maybe have a pregnancy. Maybe you're menopausal. Anything could happen. You may have an accident. So at some stage and times, you might find that the supplementation that you've always been taking needs to be lifted, changed, moved to the left, moved to the right. But we do believe in every single person having a completely unique footprint. So everybody needs completely different supplementation, and a one size fits all is just definitely not for us the way that it should be. So let's have a look at a very targeted way of working with our patients or our clients, however you refer to your ladies and your gents as. We use this target signal here, the sign, because we really need to hone and focus in on each individual, and we target whatever it is that needs to be done. So how do we work? We work with prevention, a little bit like a cooking class. We give you the ingredients in the right dosage, and then we get your body to make its own cake, so to speak. Your body knows how to do it. It sometimes just needs a little poke or a little bit of help in the right direction. Our methodology is based on science. It's backed by scientists who will use both modern and ancient methods to reteach the body to work itself. But if you don't remove what ails the body, it's not going to be able to heal itself. For instance, take liver disease. If it was caused from excessive alcohol and you don't remove alcohol from the situation, you're not going to get a healed body at all. Makes sense. So the modern medical professional believes that prevention is always better than cure. Our industry's increased education will make sure that medicine moves in the right direction. It's really important that you have a repertoire of specialists sort of at your, in your call book. And if something comes across your desk of a particular patient that you believe might have a situation other than what you can handle, it's really, really good to get them to go and see the specialists that you work alongside. And we'll bring up some of those issues over the course of today. So the training today, it's a little bit like a bio lesson. I'm not a doctor, full disclosure. I have lectured anatomy and physiology to a lot of students at university in my career. So going through this again and pulling all this information back up has been quite interesting because it's reminded me a lot of things that I've forgotten. But it's important that we have this knowledge. You also have been taught this knowledge along the way and you've forgotten. So listen up, get your pen and paper ready and write down the key things. I'll try to really pinpoint the things that you really need to take care of and remember, because you're going to be handling it on a daily basis. So every single person has a completely different fingerprint. Every single one of us is completely unique. And genetics, or should I say generic supplements, you can't have, in my opinion anyway, a one size fits all. So you may find that there's a big trend going on and it's African mango and it does this and this and this, and off you go and you buy African mango and you think, I've had it for a whole month, I haven't felt completely different, you never buy it again. That is not the objective of what we're talking about today. This is not about a quick buck. This is about a healthy human that you're going to be seeing in your clinic. This is about giving you something bespoke that you can work with her, that she trusts you fully and entirely with. This is about upskilling you to make sure that you can really give your customer a full-rounded holistic approach to her health, and specifically her skin or her scalp or whatever it is that you're handling. Okay. So firstly, your customer will do, when we work with this, your customer will do a My Body Restored assessment. It's an Excel spreadsheet. We'll go over it at the very end. It's quite simple. It's an A to Z. You'll ask questions, and it needs to be you asking either telephonically or across the table from her. So you can do virtual consults with this. You'll have the Excel spreadsheet in front of you. You'll mark off all of the issues that she has. You'll write down comments, and you'll be able to see, with the way that we've created the sheet, what would be the most ideal base supplement for her to have, and any additives that would be required to that supplement. Or in taking us back to the cake, which ingredients do I need in my cake, and which base am I going to put that cake into? Is it going to be chocolate? Is it going to be vanilla, or whatever it's going to be? And we're going to make sure that she gets a bespoke, entirely unique, tailor-made blend for her person. So let's just talk about what the supplements are made of. We work, as I say, with scientists and biochemists. They are South African people that do a lot of work internationally. They are top of game here, and I've worked with them for quite a lot of years and trust very much their knowledge and what they do. I asked them to try and take a personalized compound to the next level, and they've assisted me in this. To get to bring it, and now I'm bringing it to you. And as I say, this is for in clinic. The majority of what we're talking about is in clinic. Some of the formulas, the finished capsule formulas, are in health shops and some pharmacies. But you know that the channel that we mostly work with is aesthetic clinics and some salons. And this is what we're talking about today. So what's in our supplementation? We use vitamins, minerals, plants, herbs, amino acids, biotechnical products, and other in a combination just for you. So if I take, let's just take a particular client that would walk in the door, say she's a young girl, she's got quite a lot of hair, of facial hair, she's got some other hair on the body that she's not happy with, she's got acne, let's say on the jawline. So we have a situation, and we can see from the carbuncular thing and from the hair growth, it's probably a polycystic ovary syndrome. So we'll call it PCOS from now. And we know that if she was to be properly worked with, she would need about 5 or 6 different specialists. Firstly, she would she would need a gynae to make sure that the cysts on the ovary wouldn't cause scar tissue and have a situation with fertility down the line. She would need an endocrinologist to make sure that the hormones were all balanced and that testosterone didn't become dominant. She would need you to make sure that the scar tissue from the acne was handled with needling and light peelings, etc., and inflammation. We have a product that we're going to be putting to market quite soon called I4 to work with inflammation on the surface of the skin to make sure that we don't get PIHP, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. She would need a dermatologist if she needed a low level of tretinoin or Rakutan or Accutane. So, then she would need a pathologist, which would probably look at a stool sample to check what was living in the gut, because we know that the gut skin connection is massive. And then we would probably also need a clinical dietitian to take this person through a proper lifestyle diet intervention, and to ensure that they were taking care of themselves and making sure all the systems were working properly. So the systems sometimes need a big boost if they're not working well. And Dermaclinical has the right supplementary formula for you to do that. And we want to ensure that our bodies receive a very targeted nutrition to fuel the millions and millions of biochemical processes that happen on a minute basis. Functional practitioners, of which some of you have in your clinics, you're lucky to have a functional practitioner that is very good. Sometimes they're the most open to pulling all of that together. I still really want to own a PCOS clinic one day and have all of those specialists in one space, because I think PCOS is something that we're seeing very much more often, on a daily basis, basically. So let's just talk a little bit about the gut. And as this picture shows you on the screen, the gut move is from the mouth all the way through to the anus. So what's in the way? It's called the GI tract, or the gastrointestinal tract. It starts from the mouth, it goes to the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine. Other organs along the way are the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. The GI's job is digestion. It starts in the mouth from chewing and saliva, and moves then all the way through. Nutrients get absorbed mostly in the small intestine, and then by the time the churn reaches the large intestine, that's where most of the water is absorbed, and then the waste is moved from the body. So that's in the ideal scenario. Your gut also produces some hormones that affect your appetite and has a protective effect on your immune system, on your immune function. So what is a healthy gut, actually? A healthy gut functions properly. It eliminates well. It wouldn't have any illnesses. It has a stable balance of good gut biome. It contains about 100 trillion types of different microorganisms, the majority being bacteria. Each grouping is called a microbiota, and it's unique to each and every person. So my gut flora is not the same as your gut flora or anybody else's. And so all of that diversity would be great. Also, what's most important about the gut is that the microbiome creates things like vitamin B and K and some essential amino acids. Please write that down. The good microbiome, also forms vitamin B, vitamin K, and certain essential amino acids that otherwise your body can't produce. So microbiome and how well they are in their diversity is key with that one. So the skin relationship, and one of the need to knows is that the gut microbiome needs to be in good nick. Otherwise, those particular vitamins essential specifically for skin and other things will not be produced in a good way. So please write that down and remember that. If there's any issues with your stomach digestion or your colon or any digestive tract issues, including your liver, it will show up in the skin. So it's some ancient medicine, and some of the brands use this even today. This is the Chinese way of looking at skin. It's known that if the skin has an excessive redness or breakout in any particular area of the face or body, that it's usually indicative of a different organ system issue. So, and it will affect pretty much your digestion. So for instance, on your forehead, it could be the liver that would be ailing. Under your eyes, it would be kidney, and on your cheeks, it could be lungs, or stomach if lower down. Excuse me. So we also know that a lot of hormonal issues would happen in the jawline, and down the neck would be definitely a lymphatic detox issue as well. So what causes this type of imbalance? Why are we so imbalanced in our lives? And it's got to do with the diet primarily, our age, excuse me, the ongoing use of antibiotics, medication, lack of exercise, whole gut transit time. So sometimes food can stay in the gut for days and days as opposed to moving out quite quickly. Smoking, stress, lack of sleep, certain conditions like obesity, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, all cause imbalance in the gut. Positive impact is shown when foods or supplements contain and pre and probiotics. Probiotics are there to increase the good bacteria in the gut. Prebiotics support, like a fertilizer, the probiotics, the food for the probiotic, and they act as keeping the probiotics very, flourishing and in really good condition. Most people think probiotic, but not prebiotic. So it's really important that those two go together. So what should we eat and how do we supplement and how do we get the best gut lining? One of the biggest imbalances or problems with the gut is coming from the lining of not only the microbiome, but also the lining of the gut. And this is where the terminology leaky gut comes from. So firstly, what we have to do is remove all the foods that cause inflammation in the body. Now, inflammation is designed or is created by the same gene that deals with disease and aging. So inflammation, disease, and aging all go hand in hand. If you have one, you have the others. So it's most important that the fuel that we put in our body, the nourishment we put in our body, is first and foremost where we change our lifestyle. So the first one is refined sugar. So I'm not talking about fruits. We're talking about refined foods, refined sugars, refined hydrogenated oils. By that I mean soybean oil, castor oil, processed sunflower oil, corn oil, canola oil, certain of the olive oils. They are hydrogenated, absolutely lethal when it comes to inflammation. Then foods that will feed yeast and candida in the gut. And so we know that candida will line the small intestine and the colon. How will you know you've got candida? You'll see redness on the skin and you'll age a hell of a lot faster. But also if you look at your tongue and if you have a whitish coating on your tongue, I can see some of you actually looking in the mirror as we speak. If you've got white coating on your tongue, it's indicative of you having a yeast issue, which is living in the small intestine and your colon or GI tract. Then to make sure that your body's really healthy, you need to eat a diet rich in collagen on a daily basis, or you need to take collagen supplements, or you need to use the supplement that makes your body's production of collagen happen. You need to strengthen the skin, which that will do, and strengthen the gut wall, which that will do. And ideally, and in this presentation, we're not talking about the biospecific collagens that we already have and you possibly already know and sell them. We're going to talk about another one that actually causes or stimulates the machinery within the body to work. Okay, so what else do we need to do? We need very high vitamin C content in our diet. It's best from fruit, superberry powders, etc. Vitamin C, if you're a smoker, gets depleted very quickly, and most of the body's biochemical processes require vitamin C rich foods to actually to be able to function well. You need to feed and what Chinese medicine call your qi. Feed your qi. This is herbs like ginseng, adaptogens like ashwagandha. Lower your cortisol, levels as best you can, which is your stress hormones. Just enjoy nature. Take a ride on a horse, pick a flower, paint a picture, have a lunch with your bestie. Just enjoy life. Just build a little peace in your life and try and bring down the cortisol of the body. Cortisol is an acid, and it's extremely aging on the body. It's incredibly bad on inflammation of the body. So try and bring that down as best as you can. Let's have a look at the biome, the gut microbiome, what needs to be in there. So our body's full of bacteria, 100 trillion different microbiome, some little organisms that will live in the gut. Typically, the ratio between good and bad, you should have good 90% and bad about 10%. And why would we want bad? A little bad bacteria always challenges the immune system, which is good. It keeps the immune system on its toes. So if a baby drops its dummy on the floor, instead of maybe picking it up and sterilizing it with alcohol or whatever so that the baby doesn't get any germs. Sometimes just a little rinse with water and pop it back in the mouth might be a good thing, because that way the baby will receive some bacteria, and the immune system will kick in and become stronger. The stronger the immune system, the less likely the child is to be sickly, and the less likely the child is to have a great immune system, need less antibiotics, etc., etc. So bioindividuality comes into play here because everyone is unique and the ratio of their gut biome will be completely different. However, if you're stressed, and we all have stress, if you eat a standard Western diet with foods high in sugar and high in hydrogenated oils and genetically modified food and over-counter anti-inflammatories and antibiotics, you'll throw off the delicate balance between the good and the bad bacteria in your gut, and often flip the ratio in the wrong direction. And when you flip the ratio in the wrong direction, that's when you become ill and you get inflammation from the gut. So the gut microbiome appears to be a key role in the development of certain inflammatory skin conditions. The presence and overgrowth of certain organisms in the gut are implicated in certain autoimmune skin diseases, like psoriasis, for instance. So, yeah, psoriasis is autoimmune, comes from the gut. So remember that it's an important thing. And if we're trying to, it's very often you can't heal an autoimmune disease, but you can certainly manage it, and it would need managing through working with the gut. A dysfunctional microbiome in the first issue is the first issue. The second one is a weak intestinal barrier or gut wall. This will allow, if you've got a weak wall and all the cells are not compact together on the wall, it will allow entry of the gut of all bad pathogens within the gut. You'll have insufficient beneficial flora. You'll have overgrowth of bad organisms like bacteria and yeast, some common cells, some protozoas, fungi, viruses, and worms. So these can also lead to poor digestion, inflammation, leaky gut, and gluten sensitivity. So what do we do about it? Let's see if we can fix it. So for us, we have what we believe is the best on the market for this. As a prebiotic, we use inulin. Inulin is incredible because it's not only a fiber, but it's also a sweet tasting prebiotic. So it feeds brilliant lacto and bifido species, which is what we need the dominance of in our guts. Intestiflora is our product of choice. We sell it to our clients because it has the most incredible quantity of the right bacteria to probacteria in the gut. So those two together is how we fix our microbe issues. But let's have a look at what other skin problems are in fact found depending on what else, what you've got. So look at that. We've got H. pylori, which lives in the stomach. It's massively connected to rosacea and psoriasis and urticaria and prurigo and dermatitis. So that is a real issue, and that can be overpopulated, and you'd get those level of skin issues. When it comes to the blasto species, urticaria, psoriasis, cutaneous lesions, palmopata, pruritus, etc. So those are living. That would be infection of the colon area. Then we look at when you have inefficient bifido and lacto species. If you have inefficient amounts of those, and these are the ones that we get inside our intestiflora, the one that we have, then you're going to get atopic dermatitis. If you have too much of the acar species, you've got psoriasis. If you've got too much of the Fecalbacterium species, you've got psoriasis and atopic dermatitis. And here sits the issue on bacterial overgrowth. Certain of the bacteria can create histamine in the body, staphylococcus as well, eczemas, impetigos, boils, cellulitis, dermatitis, etc. So if you have a histamine issue, you would speak to your doctor associated with your clinic. Your doctor would give you something like celestamine for 3 consecutive nights, and it would bring down the histamine reaction in your client. What do we do now? We've spoken about this gut situation. Where do we start? So the gut flush is a full month. It's done on a 6-monthly basis, and it includes the cleansing of the liver, the gallbladder, and the colon. So it's going to flush out the parasites and toxins and the gunk that's built up on the walls of your colon over time. So we advocate Dr. Hilda Clark's ancient medicine detox flush. She was known by a lot of her colleagues as being a little bit off the wall in her day, but today it's understood that her protocols are very good and safe. You would not do a gut month if you're pregnant, and if you are concerned about having gallstones, you would need to speak to your doctor about doing this. Right, so we begin with Monday to Friday dealing with parasites. So here they are, the little pesky creatures living in the gut. Dr. Hilda Clark used to say that, she's obviously passed away now, but she used to say that if your gut had liver fluke, that it would be the reason why you would have cancer. And that if you rid the body of liver fluke, you would rid the body of the cause of cancer. So it's interesting, and a lot of people still do a lot of research around the type of parasites and what they're about. Yesterday we spoke about different elements within the gut that causes histamine reaction. We spoke about bacterial overgrowth, insufficient amount of beneficial flora, and different gut pathogens that we need to handle. So let's look at this. So how do you basically get this type of a parasite in your gut? So the question is, do you kiss your dog? Or do you kiss your cat? Do you have a dog sleep in the bed with you? Do you have a cat sleep in the bed with you? Do you walk outside? Because we know that even if your dog did its business on the grass somewhere, even though it's cleaned away, and you stand on that area, that it's very possible that parasites would enter through the soles of your feet. Do you eat sushi or raw meat in any way? Do you have smoker's wrinkles around your mouth, but you don't smoke? That could be indicative of having parasites in the gut. If so, you're like pretty much everybody else, and you live in a hot country and you have parasites in your gut. And you don't necessarily have to feel sick to have parasites in your gut. So don't think that that's something that you should expect. So how do you actually get these parasites in your gut in the first place? We've spoken about them entering through the skin of the feet, but they're pretty much unwanted dinner guests. They live in your gut, and they feed off your body, and you can get the exposure from foreign travel, unsanitary restaurant food, or even the food in your home. If you don't cleanse properly your salad items and your vegetables and your fruit, it's very possible that parasites could be on the food. Undercooked pork, putting your hands in your mouth or in your eyes, handling feces. This could be nappies, it could be in hospitals, it could be in daycare, it could be in a clinic, it could be in veterinary clinics, it could be touching your animals with feces there. It could be swimming in rivers and lakes. It could be, as we said, kissing your pets. It could be sleeping with your pets in bed, or it could be sharing a bed with a person with pinworms. And as we said as well, eating sushi, sashimi, or any kind of raw meat, or handling raw meat. So fortunately, it takes much more than just exposure for parasites to gain residency inside your gut. So let's talk about why it would happen in your gut and not in, for instance, your partner's gut or your twin sister's gut, etc. So why your body, and why do they choose your body? So there's two reasons really. So they like an intestinal dysbiosis, or an intestine that's not got a good microbiome. They also like leaky gut syndrome. They also like a lot of congestion or mucoid matter to live in. That's their ideal environment. So as we said, two people can have the identical exposure to parasites, but only one person would get a big tapeworm and the other one wouldn't. So the person who got the worm would probably have a lack of biodiversity. In other words, not enough good bugs in her gut or his gut, or in the gut microbiome. So a healthy gut biome has many deterrents, so that the introduction of these parasites or the parasite eggs will meet stiff resistance from many of the local probiotic species in your gut. And they will fight them off and they'll kill them if they're in good nick. But unfortunately, our type of lifestyle practices today weaken our microbiome and render us exposed to parasites entering and residing and living and enjoying living in our gut. Some of those examples would be antibiotics, use of antibiotics, the antibiotics that are used in commercial meat and fish, chlorine and antibiotics used in the tap water, insufficient hypochlorous in your stomach, which deals with pathogens, over snacking on unwashed food, low pancreatic enzyme production can make it happen, or overuse of refined sugars and poor quality starches. So why is it that our body's natural defense can't deal with it? And our defense comes from the immune system. And I'm sure that you know that the immune system is part of your lymphatic system, which we'll handle just now. But an immune system that cannot muster the troops to fight off a parasite invasion, let's call it, means that that immune system is heavily overworked, or it's living, maybe that immune system is living in an over-sanitized environment. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't. It's obviously with COVID now, or with Corona, it's understandable that we pretty much sanitize every single aspect of our lives. But other than that, we do live in an over-sanitized environment, which would make one person more susceptible because their immune system is lazy. It doesn't have to deal with small exposures of bacteria to keep it vigilant. We've had this debate with mothers, who've dropped a dummy on the floor of their baby, and then they pick it up and they over sterilize it. And sometimes just washing that dummy with water and popping it back in the mouth would actually render the body stronger from an immune perspective, because that immune system will kick in and be vigilant. So there's another reason why parasites would set up camp in the body, and that is that the immune system is completely overloaded with work to do. It's overworked, so it could be maxed out fighting leaky gut in the intestines or other pathogens in and around the body. It could be struggling with allergies. It could be confused from too many vaccinations. It could be patrolling damaged mitochondria. It could be overextended with inflammation responses from the cell membranes, or it could be dealing with heavy metals and toxins that you're breathing in or eating from the environment, etc. So in this case, a parasite can easily sneak in under the radar. The immune system won't even know it's there, and it could take up residence in your gut. And it could build a sufficient defense so that your existing probiotic species and your immune system can't drive it off or kill it off. So health is all about balance. Here we go. Here is an actual picture of tapeworms that have exited a child's body from the anus and the mouth. It's quite gross and really is not spaghetti as it appears. So how can we get rid of them? We need to, or how can we minimize the exposure? We need to really stop kissing the dog. Hard, I know, but you need to do. You really need to stop sleeping with people with pinworms. We need to make sure that our digestion is good and healthy, and we need to make sure that our gut biome is healthy. And we already spoke about it. You need to have pre and probiotics, and of a specific type of the lacto and bifido species, which are the ones that we prefer to use, and which is why Intestiflora is the product that we give you. Also very easy to take. It's a little spray in the mouth. It's in an MCT oil, light tasting, slightly sweet. So it's definitely our product of choice. You need to start living a really natural, healthy life. You need to try and reduce stress as much as you can, support your health nutritionally, try and have more raw food, clean raw food, etc., and clean water instead of constantly toxifying the body with what we put in it. So there we go. And of course, if you want to deal with this, and it needs to be done with children as well on a 6-monthly basis, we need to have a parasite cleanse. So this is ours. It's a natural, no nonsense deworming of all parasites in the gut for the whole family. It's a combination of herbal ingredients. The ingredients are below there: the wormwood, the black walnut hull, the cloves, the thyme, etc. And those would promote a complete cleansing of the intestinal tract from the top to the bottom and support your digestive health. So you would take literally 2 capsules in the morning, 2 capsules in the evening from Monday to Friday. And that would be your parasite cleanse. You may find that you'll go to the loo more. Often worms you can't see, they're tiny, but sometimes you can see them. So there we go. Next up would be the real gut flush. And this is all about just you and your loo. You don't invite anybody around. You most certainly don't have anybody for dinner. This is just you. And so on the day of the flush, you are going to take you're going to take it easy from a food perspective, have some juices, maybe a smoothie, maybe a light soup or a light salad, and get going with that. So at 6 o'clock on the Saturday night. So remember that you've done your parasite cleanse from Monday to Friday. At 6 o'clock on the Saturday night, you are going to begin. You're going to take 12 capsules, and the capsules contain Epsom salts and vitamin C, high levels of vitamin C. So you're going to get 2 cleanses. You're going to have an Epsom salt cleanse, and you're going to have an ascorbic cleanse, both of which are extreme. And it's almost like a Zeb in the oven type of cleanser, and it's going to get into every little nook and cranny. It's going to cleanse out gallbladder, liver channels, and colon, and you're going to have a really good clean. So that's what will happen. At 6 o'clock, you'll take 12 of these caps. At 8 o'clock in the evening on Saturday, you will take another 12 caps. And at 10 o'clock that evening, you are going to help yourself to half a glass of grapefruit juice and half a glass of olive oil together. And this, with the grapefruit juice, makes it completely easy to take down. You'll then go to sleep. You may get up once during the night to go to the loo. And then at 6 o'clock the following morning, we start the process again. 12 caps in the morning at 6, 12 caps at 8 o'clock in the morning, and at 10 o'clock in the morning, the other half of the juice and oil. By 11 o'clock that day, your body is clean. You have pretty much flushed everything out of your bottom, and you will find in the loo, if you look in the loo, that you will see these type of little bile crystals. They look like peas. They're about the size of a pea. You won't see a little French franc there, as you see in the picture, but you will see some bile crystals, and you'll pass a lot of those. A lot of endotoxins would have left your body. A lot of water would have left your body. So in the time that you're doing this flush, herbal teas and water is absolutely crucial. Absolutely no alcohol, obviously. You're in a detox at that stage. Okay, so that is your real gut flush. We then go from the Sunday onto a situation which would heal the gut. Let's just take this into full mode so that you don't have to see who is coming in on my feed. So let's talk a little bit about what this leaky gut is. You've got the gut wall, which is supposed to have really tight junctions where nothing can enter and nothing can leave it. You can see that there's little finger-like microvilli, and it's feeding the food and absorbing all the different nutrients into the gut wall. But if you have a leaky gut, it pretty much means that you've got hyperpermeability of the gut wall, which means that those little marshmallows that are supposed to be really, really strong and stacked together are in fact not so. There's leaks. They've become open to parasites and toxins from the body to enter the gut completely, and it allows all these harmful bacteria and harmful substances, to actually enter the bloodstream. So Gut Repair and Protect, which is the product we have here, has got all kinds of wonderful ingredients in it to deal with correcting the digestion first of all, but repairing the gut wall. We want to make sure that none of those little microscopic toxins, the endotoxins, can enter again. And over the month, you will continue to use this 1 teaspoon in the morning, 1 teaspoon at night, in water, in a smoothie, in juice, whatever it may be, for the rest of the month, together with the Intestiflora. Now, in here, we have inulin, which we've spoken about already. So that's one of our ingredients that are already inside this product. And you're going to have a nice fixing of that gut over the month. And a lot of people who are prone to this sort of issue continue to use this gut repair on an ongoing basis. So that can happen. And obviously, all of our products don't have any fillers or sugar or preservatives or taste or anything like that at all. They're all completely pure. So enjoy that. Let's start getting your gut ready, and it's pretty much the first step when it comes to getting you fixed. No matter what we do from a supplementation perspective or a skin perspective or a health perspective, if your gut is not in good state, I think that we realize this now, we cannot fix you. So let's just talk a little bit more about the colon. The colon is basically a sewage system, but If we neglect it and abuse it and don't look after our gut, and don't look after our biome, it becomes a cesspool. So when it's clean and functioning normally, we're happy and well. But if it stagnates, our bodies will absorb the poisons of decay, of fermentation, of putrefaction, to go into the blood and poison the body with undesirable side effects. And one of those things is obviously an unpleasant skin. And we obviously need to, in our industries, deal with that. The types of Epsom salts we use is obviously pharmaceutical grade, and it eliminates waste and decay from the gut beautifully. It will take anything from 30 minutes to 6 hours to work. And the reason why we use Epsom salts is because it attracts a lot of fluid to the bowel. This extra fluid stretches the intestines and helps to move the blockage along. We then add vitamin C to this, to the flush formula, and it's well known as an ascorbic cleanse. High levels of vitamin C can also help rid your body of toxins, and it is nicely removed in the toxins being removed in the watery type of stool. All right, so let's just talk about as well what we should be removing from our gut so that we can wrap up this gut story and move ahead. So we need to take away any processed sugar. That means biscuits, any of the sugars in your house. You don't need them. Even fruit juices that you buy that you haven't squeezed yourself are full of sugar. Sauces, tomato sauce, peanut butters. Just look how much sugar is in your cupboard and try and get rid of that as best you can. And we know that even cancer loves to snack on sugar, so make sure that it's out of the system. If you're feeling like you have a sugar craving after you've eaten meals, it's because your gut biome is saying, feed me, and they love sugar. So let's just stop feeding them with refined sugar. Let's get rid of any hydrogenous oils, canola oils, sunflower oils, corn oils, etc. Buy absolutely natural macadamia nut butter or peanut butter. Do not buy any that have got these hydrogenated oils in them or sugars. Fast foods, they are all full of hydrogenated oil that's been used over and over again. The fat fries, the burgers, etc. So if you're going to have a burger, make your own. If you are cutting gluten out of your diet, have your burger with two big, nice lettuce leaves. It's called a Guido burger. Enjoy that. And get the type of oils that your body will enjoy would be flax oil, for instance, and coconut oils. So these are the best and most assimilated by the body and won't cause inflammation and not an unhealthy gut situation. So let's basically have a look at the liver now, because this is part of your digestive system. Excuse me. It sits in the middle, between under the stomach. How do we know we've got a liver problem? The first thing that you're going to know about the liver is you're going to see it on your skin. So every single day you have patients that walk in with the type of things we're going to chat now. So a yellowing skin would obviously be more of a jaundiced, more ailing liver. Red palms is a liver issue. Spider veins in the upper body, little angiomas from the upper body are there from the liver. That is because your liver cannot break down estrogen, which is something your liver does. It breaks down estrogen. If your liver is in bad nick, you can't break down estrogen. And if you can't break down estrogen, you have hormonal imbalances. That's one of the issues. So remember that and write that down. The little white growths that you get on the eyelids, we often call them milia. They're actually not. They're little cholesterol buildups. It's usually because your triglycerides are very high, which is your bad cholesterol, and your LDL, which is your good cholesterol, is low. So and we know that your liver controls cholesterol completely. So if you have cholesterol issues, it's because you have liver issues. So your liver is your cholesterol guy, and make sure your liver's in good nick if you've got cholesterol problems. If you've got cholesterol problems, we know that you can have stroke problems, etc. White scaly plaques on the forehead, on the scalp, or dandruff. This is a problem. Write this down, guys. If there's dandruff or scalp issues, it's because you have a lack of vitamin B2 and vitamin B6. Now, understand that the liver metabolizes all of the vitamin B, or most of the vitamin Bs. So where there's a damaged liver, you cannot utilize those vitamins properly. And the Bs are specifically needed for skin. So B2 and 6 would give you the dandruff of the head. Keep that in mind. You may see a series of skin problems from dermatitis to pellagra, and that's all a vitamin B3, which is niacin, the deficiency. We use niacin quite a lot in our barrier repair products. The most phenomenal membrane and barrier repair product that we have is our antiox the power serum, and that's got a lot of vitamin B in it. But to take it internally would assist us to dealing with dermatitis from the inside. Not only that, remember we spoke about dermatitis in the intro video, being really exacerbated by the incorrect pathogens within the gut. If you've got purplish flat bumps on your skin, it's called lichen planus. That would be a liver issue. If you've got purple or red spots on your skin, on your lower legs or arms, it's called ecchymosis. That is also a liver problem. If you've got chicken skin or hyperkeratosis, the little red bumps on the follicles, that is your liver, and it's supposed to store vitamin A, and it's supposed to store vitamin E. And if you have a poor liver, vitamin A and E stores are compromised. And we know that A and E are two of the vitamins that are incredibly responsible for healthy skin and aging skin. So if you become deficient in those, if you have a poor liver, you will become deficient in A and E. One of the other areas of deficiency you will see A specifically, vitamin A is in the side of the mouth, called angiolitis, little cracks on the side of the mouth, and it's usually related straight back to liver. Liver's not handling the proper metabolization and the processing of vitamin A, so you're going to get issues in the skin like fissures on the side of the mouth. Okay, now another thing that you see, and especially with your Fitzpatrick's 4 to 6, are very dark knuckles. So dark knuckles is a liver problem, and it's a problem with vitamin B12 uptake. Please remember that. You see a lot of ladies come through and say, can you do a peel on my knuckles? Can you do lasers on my knuckles? And understand that it is a liver problem. It is a vitamin B12 uptake problem. So that's all those reasons are reasons to make sure that your liver is taken care of. There is something that your liver, in fact, one of the big ingredients that we use in our liver product called milk thistle. A lot of evidence shows that it's incredible for insulin resistance. It's great for fatty liver. It's great for decreasing liver enzymes. It is a potent antiviral product and can help you get rid of hepatitis C, which you know is a liver disease. It's an active compound. Its active compound is called silibinin, and it rids us of ROS, which is like the hydrogen peroxide formed in the body, like free radical damage. And it damages all the cells in the tissue. So that's phenomenal for that, not just for the liver, but for all the body's cells. It's chemoprotective. So if you're exposed to pesticides or alcohol or drugs, it will help your liver. It's anti-carcinogenic. It's antioxidant, and it reduces fibrosis or cirrhosis of the liver. It nullifies the cytokines which are left behind in an inflamed liver, and it improves your gallbladder function, which, as you know, produces bile. Bile, as we know, moves cholesterol out of the liver, so it's important that all of that is healthy. So what we do is we recommend, first of all, that our customer with any of these issues would take Ultra Liver. It's a supplement designed to flush toxins away from the liver, and then, as you know, we believe that every 6 months we should be cleansing the colon, the gallbladder, and the gut and the liver with our gut month. So, put in the file or put in your diary that certain people who do this liver cleansing or gut cleansing needs to happen 6 monthly, and just manage that. And we will see a lot more healthy patients move through our clinics for sure. Let's then go on to the lymph. The lymph is a super important system. The digestive system pretty much gets all the press, but the liver is unbelievably important. So what does the lymphatic system do? So we have detox pathways in our body, and liquid that runs in that detox pathway. So the pathways are the lymph channels. The fluid that runs through it is called lymph, and the plugs that goes through, or the filters or the sieves that it goes through, are called nodes. So your lymph pathways are closed. Then you have a blockage, and then you start to gain weight. You get more brain fog, and you get skin rashes, and you're very often constipated. So any of those issues, you have a lymphatic problem. Or if you see any swelling of your hands and feet, usually at the end of your extremities, or very sore breasts, etc., because you're retaining a lot of water, that could be an issue. So try to increase, if you're trying to make sure that your lymphatics need to work, First of all, your lymphatics do not have a pump like your heart is pumping blood. Your lymphatics don't have that. So it's relying on your muscular movements. You have to move with lymph to get lymph moving from your body. You have to breathe, you have to get your diaphragm going. So you have to breathe, you've got to move. And if you are not somebody who can walk for whatever reason or exercise, try and have massage very, very regularly, lymphatic massage. If you're somebody who's stuck in a flat or whatever and you can't really get out, or get onto your bed, jump up and down, get onto a little trampoline, whatever it is, but to get your body moving as best as possible. Good idea to sweat as much as you can, even if you have to do sort of hot yoga. When you exercise, possibly look at layering your body so that you get some sweat going as best you can. Dry brushing is a phenomenal ancient way of getting your lymphatic going. Dry brushes, natural bristle, start from your feet, very, very lightly brush upwards. When you're in the shower, you could take a loofah. Make sure that when you are using a loofah in the shower, that you really work the areas of your nodes, which are your neck area here, under your armpits, which, as you know, are the nodes that are going to drain away from the breasts, especially if you use, antiperspirants that can clog the pores. There's been some quite bad press with certain of the ingredients in antiperspirants that can cause your breast cancers and things. So keep those lymph nodes clean by really, really working the underarm and obviously the inguinal areas, which is the groin, inside of the elbow, behind the knees. So give yourself a good brush or loofah of those regions to try and get that body moving. Okay, so the objective that we have is to really get the lymphatic system working optimally. It's absolutely crucial that the fluid can move away from the body. It's going to take all of the damaged cells away from the body. It's going to take all the toxicity away from the body. It's going to take all the drained blood away from the toxins, etc., away from the body. So we know that it's a system that works right throughout the body together with your capillaries of blood. It's going to be the drain. It's almost like the removal truck, the waste truck. It's going to be taking, as your blood moves food to the cells, your lymphatics is moving the waste away from them. It includes the spleen, the nodes, the appendix, the tonsils, the thymus. It's a really, really huge system, and it actually has more jobs than what I'm telling you about now. Now, we know that this clear fluid that runs through the vessels is lymph, and that the fluid surrounds every single cell. So the lymph system picks up the fluid from everywhere, transfers it to the cardiovascular system, then transports it to the organs of detoxification. So if it's not working well, the body can't detoxify. And if your body can't detoxify, it's going to try and enlist the help of the skin to excrete. Now, understand that. So if lymph is not working well at detoxifying the body, your skin is now going to become an excretory organ. And this is what we're seeing when it comes to acne and other skin issues. Your skin is trying to help with the detoxification of that body. Not only that, your lungs will also try and help. And what will come out of the lungs is breath, and this is an incredibly bad breath of a very toxic person. Or if your digestive system will try and detoxify like that. And these are people who have really bad smelling gas and feces, etc. Not a great subject, but we know that that's the body is trying to assist with that type of a detox all of the time. So we know that the lymphatic system is also the immune system. So the lymph fluid is being taken to the nodes. It's examined there to see if there's any pathogenic microbes. If they are pathogen, there's little lymphocytes that rush to the site, and they try and deal with those pathogens. Also, the lymphatic system monitors the absorption of fatty acids. This is something that works very closely with the digestive system, with handling the absorption of fatty acids. The other thing that the lymphatic system actually does is work alongside the nervous system. So it's basically the command center of the nervous system. So the fluid communicates with the nervous system via the lymph. If there is an autoimmune problem like psoriasis, mood disorders, etc. So understand that if you're dealing with psoriasis, and understand as well that an autoimmune disorder means that the body is not having proper communication to the neural network. to say that it has a problem with this diseased tissue. So your body is fighting it. It's fighting the tissue, even if it's not damaged or sick. That is called autoimmune. So when that starts happening on the skin, it's often a psoriasis, for instance. The body starts fighting itself. It's starting to fight the organ of the skin with the autoimmune psoriasis, and that's often because lymphatics is not in good state. So we've got to get your lymphatic right. We've got to get the neural pathways happening and working right and moving right, so that the brain knows not to have to attack the skin and not to exacerbate the psoriasis. So long story short, it's important that the nervous system, which travels along the lymph fluid, is in good nick. Then, of course, and this is a key one for you to know, progesterone is the only way that progesterone can move around the body is through the lymphatic system. Why is that a problem for us? I mean, if you look at our lady that comes in here with PCOS, post polycystic ovarian syndrome, and we know that progesterone is not free flowing through the lymph of the body, then we're going to have an upsurge in androgens. Because why? If progesterone's not moving, that means estrogen is out of balance, and if estrogen's out of balance, you have a hormonal imbalance, and androgens will naturally take the center stage. If you've got androgens, you've got acne. So again, with lymph, we've got another skin issue happening. We need progesterone to move around the body, and we have this hormonal imbalance. So think about that. When your body is healthy, the fluid around your body is crystal clear. It's thin. It's made of perfect, pure mountain water. It flows about easily. The body is just loving this beautiful mountain water. But if it's not working well, the fluid around your tissues is like a swamp. It becomes jelly-like. It's like mud. It can't move through the lymphatic vessels any longer. These little valves inside the system can't actually move the sludge through the system, and that's when we get all of these terrible issues. So let's just recap on that. We've got nervous system issues. So our body thinks that our body's under attack. It starts to attack itself. In the case of the skin, it's like an autoimmune disorder like psoriasis. Secondly, it can't move progesterone around the body. If it can't do that, then we have a massive hormonal imbalance going on. So we need to very, very quickly handle this, because we have immune issues, we have hormonal issues, we have nervous system issues, and we have digestive issues if we have not got a lymphatic system that is working well. So how do we know that we're unwell with lymphatics? We are bloating, we're swelling, we have sore breasts, we have fat ankles, we have eye bags, we have swollen tonsils, we have a postnasal drip, we have breakouts along the jawline, very often down the neck. Think about it. You've got all the glands here down the neck. Of course, you're going to have breakout here. This is where all the toxicity is sitting. So even if you are doing needling on that skin, even if you are doing peels on that skin, always remember to do a really nice sort of a facial massage, and make sure that we have a light draining from this area to help get those nodes moving the waste from the head. If you have a puffy eye problem, maybe you sleep on your side and your head is not draining well from because your head is not higher than your heart. Make sure that you get your client to lie higher than your head, lie higher than the heart, and encourage this drainage out of the head, so that we can move the fluid and get the lymphatic connection going. Okay, let's talk about again, I just want to go back to acne. Hormonal imbalance on the jaw around the period time specifically is due to estrogen and progesterone imbalance. Higher levels of estrogen and progesterone, lower levels of or higher or lower of either of those, we get a cascaded reaction, and we get high androgens. Also, progesterone is important for the skin. So let's have a look at the next slide, which is the lymphatic skin connection. We've spoken about these two things. We also know that any autoimmune disorders, if the lymph is not in good condition, can be exacerbated, especially the psoriasis of the world. And we know as well, if we've got the sludge moving around, we've got massive inflammation. And we also know that any of the pathogens that can't be dealt with in the lymphatic system are going to cause inflammation of this region. How do we keep the lymph moving? We take a product called Ultralymph. We need to get the skin hydrated or the body hydrated. We need to get the lymph moving. We need to clean out that lymph. We need to make sure that our little valves can propel the lymph forward, we need to do things at home that will help us. Not only this, we need to dry brush, we need to use loofah, we need to maybe do some contrast hydrotherapy, maybe shower under hot water for 3 minutes and cold water for 1, like the Scandinavians do. Not a good idea if you have a heart issue. But we need to dilate the vessels with the hot water, then we constrict the vessels with the cold water. Lymphatic massage, and then, as we said, release the neck and jaw muscles, deal with lymphatic flow through the neck and through the nodes of the whole body. So have a look at those ingredients. All of them are absolutely brilliant, all herbs and plants, and with a great result. And so with acne or any of the big skin issues, Ultra Lymph and Ultra Liver are the products of choice there. So in your clinic, I would never ever run out of those. If I have a problem skin client, especially acne, these two things are absolutely part of what they do. So one of them can be taken in the morning and the other one can be taken in the afternoon. So let's look at inflammation now. What is inflammation? Inflammation is a process by where the body's white blood cells and the things they make protect you from infection from outside invaders such as viruses and bacteria can't be helped. So some of the autoimmune and inflammatory diseases like arthritis, for instance, your body's defense, it thinks that it's defending itself, but with an autoimmune disease, it's actually attacking good tissue. And this is what a lot of autoimmune diseases get kicked in when you have inflammation. Have a look at those diseases that you see there. All of those caused from body's inflammation. Inflammation types, you can have acute inflammation, which can be short-lived. It could be a couple of hours or a couple of days. This is the sort of thing that we would see, or we would actually create in our clinics. We would have an acute inflammation, for instance, after a peel or after needling. So we have, from an external perspective, we have a spray called I4, which would take down that inflammation. And once you take down inflammation, you deal with the risk of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation is taken away. But something that's chronic or long-lasting will cause disease. And a type of chronic inflammation conditions or diseases would be cancer, heart disease, diabetes, asthma, Alzheimer's, etc. So we have a base blend. This is in a tub. Your client with inflammation would have this particular base blend. This is the base of our cake, so to speak. And in our base, we have 3 different bases: inflammation, telomere, and glutathione. In these bases, you would add whatever it is that you would require. So let's just have a look at some of the ingredients that's inside this base. The first one that is particularly strong antioxidant properties is called alpha-lipoic acid. It's an ALA. It will reduce inflammation and skin aging. Now remember, we've spoken about it already, that inflammation, aging, and disease are all created from exactly the same genetic code. So if you have inflammation, you will get aging, and if you have aging, you will get disease. So all 3 of them come from the same gene. This ingredient will promote healthy nerve function. It will lower your risk of heart disease and slow the progression of memory loss disorders. You usually find it in yeast and liver and kidneys, meats, etc. But these are foods that we don't generally eat on a daily basis. But you can also find it in broccoli. Another great ingredient is curcumin. It's from the turmeric plant, which is part of the ginger root family. And it's been scientifically proven that it improves heart health. It works against Alzheimer's and cancer. It has potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant benefits. And it helps the symptoms of, in fact, depression as well as arthritis. And then obviously strong vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D. Bromelain is as well derived from, in here, it's derived from the enzymes of pineapple. It's a supplement for reducing pain and swelling. So very good for nose and sinuses, gums, other body parts that after surgery and injury. So if you've had an operation, it's fantastic to get that wound that all healed up quicker. Very good for osteoarthritis, cancer, digestive problems, muscle soreness. Topical bromelain, in other words, worked on the skin, is very good as well for and promoted for burn healing. We've got garlic in here and zinc. You will not smell of garlic with using this. We use berberine as well, which is most commonly taken for diabetes and for high levels of cholesterol and other fat or lipid issues in the blood, also for blood pressure. Also used for burn, canker sores, liver disease, and many other conditions. You'll find that berberine, we use it in all our bases because it has such a widespread effect. Inulin, again, in all of our bases. And we know that that's our fiber product. It's our prebiotic that's going to feed our probiotic. So anybody who has any level of inflammation in the body at all will have a very good response to this base. And it really will help to soothe the discomfort of everyday type of aches and pains. It will modulate the inflammation-causing enzymes that result from the modern diets and lifestyle as well. So whilst we'd like people to come away from the type of diet that's causing inflammation, that doesn't always happen. So we're going to use this on a daily basis as part of our personal blend. Now I'm going to go into something that's very interesting, and some of you know about it, some of you don't, but it's important that you do in our industry know about telomeres. What is a telomere? A telomere is a structure that is at the end of your chromosomes. So it's made from DNA sequences and proteins, and it's just like a shoelace, really, the little plastic join that you would get at the end of a shoelace to stop it from fraying. Pretty much that is what telomere is. So in this little diagram, it's the little blue ends. It's the little cap on the end of the chromosome. It keeps your chromosomes separate from one another so that you prevent fusion and instability. So why do they shorten over time? They shorten because, number one, it's predetermined how short your telomeres will become, how quickly. It's through age, it's through stress, it's through diet, it's through lifestyle. The chromosome reaches a critical length and then no longer can be replicated. So every single time your chromosome replicates, which your cells do on all the time, your cells are replicating and your chromosomes are replicating. Every new cell that is made, you have a replication of that chromosome. Each time it replicates, the shorter your telomere gets. So if you have somebody who's 100 years old, it means that they have long telomeres. They've had a long life. Somebody who passes away quickly has a short telomere. Basically, the shorter they become, you would stop living because the body would no longer be able to recreate itself. Why do they shorten? As we spoke about, it's lifestyle generally related. But the more stress you have, the faster that will also happen. So what will trigger the cell to die is a process called apoptosis, also known as a programmed cell death. That programmed cell death is because the telomere is no longer available. So shorter telomeres are also together with cancer or most other infectious diseases and syndromes, effectively. So shorter telomeres have been implicated for all kinds of DNA mutations to happen after cell division, and a mutation would generally be affected to a syndrome or cancer. It causes defects in certain processes that control the way the cells divide, and in many cases, a mutation of that cell division will become a tumor. So these defects may include mutations in certain genes involved in repairing damaged DNA or mistakes that do not get corrected where DNA is copied in the cell. Again, moving to a cancer. So they may also include defects as a broken, missing, rearranged, or extra chromosome. Other people with shorter telomeres have 3 to 8 times risk to die from a heart or infection diseases. So we need to know how the hell do we increase the length of the telomere. And the older we get, we know the shorter they're getting. So how do we quickly reverse this? And is it possible? And the research shows that yes, it is possible. Vitamin C, vitamin E, and selenium have been shown to reverse this completely. So we have a wonderful thing to share with you right now. Our formula is a multi-nutrient telomere-focused dietary supplement, which aims to support your telomere length and support your healthy aging by activating the telomerase, which is the enzyme that lengthens the telomere. General anti-aging support your organ protection and hormonal balance, more youthful energy, stress resistance, and vitality, and better sleep. Also, those who don't sleep well, shorten telomeres because the body's fighting all of the time to try and rebuild itself. So we have a really great base here. It's probably the most concise base. It has every single vitamin, mineral, amino acid that you require. for a healthy body. So even if you are wanting to take an all-rounder, really good anti-age product for your life, this is your personal base. Into this, we can add other of the shots that could go into it. We're going to go through them shortly, but this is really the most special of the bases when it comes to anti-aging that body and having a longer life and having longer telomeres, which is important. Interestingly enough, there's been a clinical trial done on the monks, the Buddhist monks who meditate for many, many hours of the day and who are devoid of stress and devoid of pollution, etc. And a lot of those monks live way into their centenary years. So, and they have very long telomeres. So it's been shown that the less stress you have in your life, the longer your telomeres will continue. Okay, so then of course the third base that we have is glutathione. This is not the cake. This is the ingredients to make your own body create its own glutathione. And we're having the most incredible results. Within about 3 months, you will already start to see a very good results on that. And what is this glutathione doing? In fact, what is it? It's an antioxidant, first and foremost. It lightens the skin by converting the melanin to a lighter color. And we do this through deactivating tyrosinase, which is the enzyme that makes pigment turn brown. And so it helps reduce the color of skin pigment. You will not turn into an albino with this. You still have melanin. The minute you go back into the sun or the minute you have massive heat, or even if you have a lot of hormonal input, you will find that your skin will constantly try and fight itself to go brown. Glutathione will be fighting that enzyme process. So, you know, if you want to stay very light, well, then stay out of the sun. Big sunglasses, big sun hat, sunscreen on a daily basis. We know this. And we also know that people on our pigmentation programs, we get incredible transformation with our pigmentation products. We're actually quite famous for that. A three-pronged approach. This base inside for the inside, inflammation for the inside. We make sure that the right microbiome is there. So any skin issue that walks through the clinics has the gut month. They then get put onto the suitable base, and they get put onto in-clinic treatments to try and rid the skin of pigment, and of course our product for home use to get that really lifted. Glutathione is also an important antioxidant that plays a major role in detoxification of the metabolic products in your body, including lipid peroxide, which you know is caused from massive free radical formation, the synthetic compounds like heavy metals that you breathe in and eat on a daily basis, the pollutants, the pesticides, the drugs. So it's really a phenomenal health base. And as I say, it is perfectly moving through the gut barrier, which many glutathione finished capsules that you buy do not. They effectively are a huge waste of money. This will effectively this will be the ingredients to get the cells to make its own glutathione. So very good formula for that, and our clients do love it. Not in a capsular form. People who hate taking capsules, you would literally take this in your water, in your juice, in your smoothie, in your cereal, etc. Then, of course, we have iron. Iron is a nutrient that plays a very important role in the body, including keeping you healthy and full of energy. If you've got a low iron level, you generally feel very tired all the time, your concentration is poor, and you'll get sick quite frequently. Iron deficiency anemia is probably one of the most common micronutrient deficiencies in the world today. The type of foods that you get iron from is not something that we eat a lot of. You can get it from dark green leafy vegetables, but because we don't eat those raw as often as we should, iron is not forthcoming. Obviously, as well, the organ meats is something that we don't hugely eat. So sometimes it's really just way easier to use a supplementation to give you what you need. If you lose a lot of blood in an accident, if you are a woman and you have very heavy menstrual cycles, with pregnancy, you lose a fair amount as well. So all of those would mean that you would need iron supplements. And by the way, if you're a person who exercises vigorously, you're going to burn through iron. So you would need a supplementation of iron. If you have a gastric bypass, you may need to take iron and supplementation for. So that's important. And it's literally 1 gram. You would put it into any one of your bases, and it would be sufficient for the month. This is a special one because we know that hypoglycemia or low blood sugar in people without diabetes can result from your body creating far too much insulin after a heavy meal, causing your blood sugar levels to drop quite dramatically. When your blood sugar drops like that, you either crave more sugar, you have a lot of cravings. So something that's not on this label that this is in fact working on is cravings. So it's low blood sugar and cravings, which is phenomenal. But look at some of those other brilliant ingredients in there. If you're somebody who's watching weight, who's trying to burn fat, this is a really good one to add to your one of your bases. Let's have a look at some of those ingredients. So chromium picolinate, been identified as an essential nutrient in maintaining your blood glucose levels, and it is very good at processing carbohydrates and fats. It's used as a weight loss aid for dieters and muscle builders and athletes. Then cinnamon, completely linked scientifically to better blood sugar levels and cravings. Some of the studies show that it may even lower insulin resistance. Then you've got copper, which is interesting. Everybody needs this in the body, especially to uptake iron. So if you're somebody who has an iron issue, you would need a copper base in your body. You don't need to have a lot of copper in your food to have copper stores in the body. But if you know that you have a copper situation in your body, then this is a good idea to add with your iron into one of your bases. Okay, that is awesome. And then we've got, of course, the viral support. Now, anybody who's got a job that can't afford to get sick, or you could be a medical person, you could be a pilot, you could be a lawyer, you could be anybody who needs to really be in the workplace, teacher. You need to be somebody who's, well, all of us, in fact, none of us want to get sick. Somebody who constantly gets ill for whatever reason needs this particular viral support. It contains a lot of amino acids and vitamin C, which help to reduce the recurrences of viral infection. And the benefits from the formula would be to loosen your phlegm, to assist you with antibodies, to inhibit the viral replication in the body, stopping your common viral infections. If you're somebody who gets a lot of herpes simplex, for instance, that shows that the body's got a viral inhabitation. You need to take this type of a product. So this is a shot, a product shot, and can go into one of your bases. Helps you really to speed up recovery as well if you've been sick. And if you have anybody who's really concerned about corona, for whatever comorbidity, it's a good idea that they start to take this. It gives you healthy circulation of blood and oxygen in your body as well. Hair growth, if you have somebody with traction alopecia, or you possibly doing a micro needling of the head. And by the way, we have fantastic ampules that, fusion ampules that work very, very well after 5 sessions to bring back hair for people with baldness. This is amazing. We give this to the people at the same time we put this into their head. Also, it's fantastic for nails. Obviously, it's working the same system, and skin. So it will help you lose less hair, hair thinning. It will help you deal with the essential nutrients that you need if you're taking certain medications. It nourishes the hair follicle. It makes sure that you have really shiny and good condition hair, skin, and nails. Gives you the right provision of sulfur that's required. It supports the collagen production and rejuvenates any damaged cells in the papilla or in the nail bed. And then you already probably know about our biospecific amino blends, which are the cake. They are the collagen cake that you would take in the body to simulate the workings of collagen in the body. This particular one has absolutely no bovine in it. So this is really the ingredients to make collagen, the machinery of collagen work in the body, the fibroblast, the osteoblast, the chronoblast, etc. So it really help you with your bone matrix. Would help you with your skin, hair, nails, would help you with everywhere in the body that you required. And I would just like to remind you that 90% of the collagen in the human body is type 1. And that is mostly found in the skin, the tendons, the vasculature, the organs, the bone. So this shot will help you. We've put it into one of your bases. A lot of people enjoy this shot with telomere. If they're dealing with an aging body, it will really have a great effect on all aspects of the body, specifically on the making of collagen type 1 in the body. Also in here is your vitamin C, because vitamin C is one of the precursors to a very good collagen build within the body. It's something else that affects a lot of people is sleep. And we know that calcium, maybe we don't know it, we know that calcium is good for bones, but we don't realize that it's required as well for sleep. So calcium helps the body use the amino acid tryptophan. So your body has tryptophan. Once calcium is joined to that, it makes melanin, which is a hormone that you need to help you fall asleep and stay asleep. So this is not about going to the counter and buying melatonin. Not melanin, sorry, I meant melatonin. Not about going to the counter and buying melatonin. It's about giving your body the ingredients that stimulate tryptophan to make its own melatonin, so that you can start to train your body into sleep. Magnesium, as we know, will also help you with sleep. It will also try and calm you. It will help to quiet you. And this will also help relieve anxiety and depression, and has a lot to do with the serotonin levels in the body as well. Then, of course, we go on to the menopause, and we know that this can happen earlier than 50. If you're somebody who's lost your ovaries for whatever reason, or you have maybe had chemotherapy or any level of ovarian damage, you can go into an early menopause. So generally it's around 50, but it can happen earlier. We know that you go into menopause, which, you know, when all of the eggs which you're born with, your ovaries are born with the eggs in them, and over the years, the reproductive years, the puberty years and onwards, you're going to be putting out eggs in your cycle every single month. When that basket of eggs has exhausted, you then go into a menopause. So that means that your reproductive cycle or your reproductive years are over. And once that happens, you would start to get some not so pleasant side effects. Maybe some people get no side effects at all. So look at the ingredients. If you get hot flashes, don't cry is amazing. If you get excessive sweating, which can happen, you know, sort of rises up the body. I'm in a postmenopausal now, but I can remember the sweating sort of rising up the body and then finishing on the head with massive sweats through the hair. So not very pleasant in the workplace if you've got this dripping wet head. Red clover is a plant estrogen, so it increases your good cholesterol and reduces the heart disease and keeps the skin young, because the skin is an estrogen-loving organ. Arjuna bark would keep your heart healthy and reduce your stress and nervousness. And black cohosh is fantastic for vaginal atrophy, hot flushes, and depression. Regarding the vaginal atrophy, it's an incredibly painful situation, especially during intercourse. So women who have this in their menopause need to use our biospecific amino acid for skin, hair, nails. That is phenomenal at making sure that the particular skin, and remember that the internal vaginal area is also part of the skin. So let's build that up as well. Together with this, I must say I take this now as post-menopause, and I do feel absolutely brilliant. My skin feels better. It feels less aged. It feels like my youth has bounced back, which is great. And my assistant in the office was saying the other day, it's very clear that your menopause, this ultra fem, is working for you, because you're not hot all the time. I'm actually putting the heater on over this winter period. Last year this time, there was definitely no heaters going on in the office. I had a permanent private sunny holiday going on in my menopause. All right, antioxidants. So what is the difference between an antioxidant and a omega? An omega is omega-3 specifically, which is the one you need to take, is more of a protective agent. It prevents disorders, and it has an anti-inflammatory effect. Okay, an antioxidant helps to stop or limit the damage caused from free radicals. So your body uses antioxidants to balance free radicals, or fight them, or dismantle them effectively. This keeps them from causing damage to all the cells of your body. Antioxidants can protect and reverse some of that damage. Free radicals are molecules produced when your body breaks down certain foodstuffs, or when it's exposed to certain environmental and internal elements like tobacco smoke, radiation, metals, sun, pollution, stress, damage, depression, etc. So we have a potent formula here, and it is high in vitamin C. It also has resveratrol in it, high in resveratrol. This is generally from berries and red wine. It prevents inflammation and oxidative stress, and it reduces the risk of cancer. High in xanthones. These are a pharmacological health benefit: anti-obesity, anti-diabetic, antioxidant, anti-Alzheimer, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer. And they're found in the higher plants. Carotenoids, flavonoids, lots of vitamins, specifically vitamin C, minerals, etc. Very, very high in vitamin C. So it really is a superfood. It's only berries, very phytonutrient, high pink red berries. I don't like capsules, so I actually empty mine into my juice in the morning or my smoothie. But look at the phenomenal reactions that you get from all of the different berries that are used in this product. Really special. So yes, alongside any of the alongside omega-3, you do need both, one for inflammation and one for all of this work that you're going to do here. A newbie on the market that is phenomenal for a sharp mind and strong bones. So your mind is its sharpest at 20 years old, and by sharp I mean how quick your thinking is, how quick your recall is. That's the domain of the 20-year-old. Us older folk are better at decision making and solutions because we have a lot of experience in that. But when it comes to speed of thought, it belongs to the 20-year-old. So when your brain ages, what's happening? The cortex of the brain, the frontal cortex specifically, is shrinking in size. And when it shrinks, you have less blood supply. And when you have less blood supply, your blood pressure rises, and the possibility of a stroke, for instance, would increase. Then the white matter of the brain develops lesions, and this leads to a memory decline and cognitive function decline, and our neural pathway starts to age and less sharp. So this formula has an ingredient in it called magnesium L-threonate, which is the only clinically proven form of magnesium to cross the blood-brain barrier. This formula de-ages the brain by 9 years. So it is the only formula, the only ingredient that has been clinically trialed to de-age the brain by this amount of time. For bones, MLT works with calcium and ascorbic acid to increase your bone collagen. And so it's fantastic at an anti-osteoporotic work. So if you have osteoporosis already, or you are prone to it, make sure that this is something that you take. So if you are in menopause, it's absolutely something you should be taking, reversing brain age and improving your bone health. Okay, so somebody who needs quick thinking, a student who is working hard, people who need to concentrate for long periods of time. This is for you. It's called Ultra Brain. You take it in the morning. Look at the ingredients. It's linked, your curcumin again, vitamin D, amla extracts, all of these things, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, working on Alzheimer's, nerve tonic to make sure that you're very sharp with what you're doing. So this is a phenomenal brain function product, restores the very fast mental pathway that you need to think well and fast. So that is Ultra Brain. Again, if you're working in where you need your brain all of the time, Ultra Brain in the morning, MLT at night are two fantastic formulas for all CEOs out there, people who are studying, lawyers, surgeons who need to really be thinking for long periods of time, where you need long times of concentration. So there we go. We have got a lot of work to do. Let's carry on. This is a laminate that you will find as soon as you start to get your My Personal Blend bases. Have a look at that. The gray is your glutathione, your inflammation, and your telomere. These are your 3 bases. Look at what's inside them. These are the grams that are found for the whole month. They're in pots, jars, sealed jars, and in those you would then be adding in some various elements, other items, or we could call them shots. These are your support items, so they can go in any one of those bases. If you want to mix bases, you could. It wouldn't really be necessary. I have somebody who's mixed a glutathione and an inflammation before. That's fine. You do get some ingredient overlap. It's okay though, they're not toxic, and you won't get any you know over toxicity with blending those two. Telomere really does stand alone. It has, as I said to you, it's a standalone, and you can be putting in any of those support elements into that. Let's now have a look at something else that we've created for you. Right, this is the assessment that we spoke about earlier. It's an A to Z, so it starts from abdominal pain all the way down to Z, or Y in this case, yellow skin and eyes. So let's take a particular, it's an Excel spreadsheet. So when you get the spreadsheet, you'll see that there'll be a whole lot of templates along here. You will obviously click on one, fill in Mary Jones, the date you're seeing her, she's your patient, and you will ask her questions, and it will be virtual or it will be in front of you. You will have your Excel spreadsheet in front of you, and you're going to tick ask her questions. You're going to obviously put a cross where it's an issue and write a comment. So in this particular case, Mary Jones, and she's obviously fictitious, has abdominal pain and swelling after carbs. This will immediately alert you to the fact that she has maybe a gluten intolerance. But if you've got abdominal pain and swelling, then you'll see that on the chart here, you have a whole lot of crosses. Don't touch the crosses here. These are in to show you what could be the issue. So it could be the ultra liver she needs. Definitely the gut has to be dealt with, and the base blend that she would need to use in this case would be the inflammatory. If she gets constipation, diarrhea, and other digestive issues for at least 3 times a week, again, liver issue. Definitely a gut issue, and again, an inflammatory issue. Okay, then she's got dandruff, poor lady. So here we know that vitamin B12 is required there. So there we have the ultra liver is going to be an issue, and it's a possibility that she has liver, other system issues. So telomere would be the best in that particular case. Anyway, so we go on. Here she's got irregular periods, she's got itchy skin, and she's got dark knuckles. So here we've written exactly what it is that she has, and along the line of that, I just want you to do a red. Your crosses need to be in red. So when I now look at what base I would require for this lady, have a look at how many times inflammation base comes up, and that is going to be the base that we're going to choose for her. Telomere came up once, so her base is that. What else do we need? Look how many times liver has come up with this lady. She needs liver. She needs ultra liver. Look at how often the gut has come up with this lady. We need to sort her out on the gut, etc. So this is how you do it. You're going to ask yourself the questions. If she's got irregular periods, and under comments she's getting them every 2 to 3 months, and she's age 44, you would ask her further questions about menopause, and if that was the case, then you would give her the Ultra Fem, which are our menopause products. So this is just an indicative thing. If you're really not sure, you would refer these issues to one of your doctors in your panel, but this is your Excel spreadsheet. Remember not to play around with the crosses here. You're putting your crosses here, and all you're doing is making those elements click over here and make them red, so that you can see exactly where your red crosses are lying in your sheet. That's it today, guys. Any further questions, please pop your agent a mail, and I will endeavor to come back to you as soon as possible. Okay, so you'll have this in front of you. It will be either a virtual consult or a consult with the client in front of you. You'll ask questions. So obviously this is dated. It's got the lady's name or gentleman's name, and you've got the comment column. You're then going to ask questions and only populate this particular column, your patient column with red crosses. Please don't touch any of the other crosses, because they've been done perfectly to, with what is recommended for each issue. So in this particular case, it's just a fictitious client. We've put there that she's got some abdominal pain and swelling, and in the comments we see that it's after carbs specifically. A bell goes off in the head about a gluten intolerance possibly. Then further down, she has constipation, diarrhea, and other digestive issues, and she gets it 3 times a week approximately. She also has dandruff, which we know is a lack of vitamin 12, but we tick that. Then this poor lady also has irregular periods. Under comments, we write that it's every 2 to 3rd month, and she's age 44. So the bell tells us that we have a possible premenopausal here. And then she has really itchy skin all over her body. This tells us we're probably in winter, or we have a liver problem. Then, of course, she has dark knuckles on the pigment on the knuckles, and we also know that this is a lack of vitamin B12, which we know is metabolized in the liver. What else has this poor lady got? So that is it. We then go and click on the actual line and make everything red. Where you see that, once everything's red and we can see at a glance what's happening with our crosses. It's done in such a way that the veggie capsules are all the colors here. There, so the gut products are these. The gut is column L and M, and of course your base blends are the 3 base blends here. So ideally, if it's not a veggie cap that they're on, then one of the other shots effectively need to be added into a base blend. So these type of questions should bring us to which is the ideal base blend. So let's have a look at that first. We can see that a lot of the red crosses are in the inflammation box. So that is going to be your base blend of choice. We can see that we have a lot of red ticks in the gut side. So we need to get this lady on a gut month. And then from a capsule perspective, we can see that ultra liver is pretty much ticked all of those times that we've asked those questions. So we know that this client needs to have ultra liver as a capsule. Remember, it's a veggie cap, so there's no animal gelatin around it. She needs to be on a gut month, which will be prior to starting everything else. She needs to be on the inflammation as a base, and then from an additive perspective, everything that we've asked her, we can see that the collagen comes up twice there. So that could be a base that you add. Remember that the base blends can also be used by themselves. So that's the prescription that we then give her. Any questions? Do let us know. Take care.